We are always hearing how electric vehicles are just too damn expensive. But every car I do lately, we seem to be saying, this is a new price point, a new low, it's getting even better. And today is no difference. We have another really good value car, the Omoda E5. What is an Omoda? Well, it's a brand that's probably better globally known as Chery, out of China. They have been here before, but I think it's quite a different company that's coming to New Zealand and a different product this time. Now, Omoda is, I guess, kind of their more value, tech-led, kind of interesting brand. They're starting here. They've got another one, a more premium brand called JQ. And what is the E5? So, it's the electric version of the C5 petrol car. It has been restyled for its new electric life. It's a small, compact SUV, kind of in the same vein as an Atto 3 and MG ZS EV. Somewhere in that ballpark between the two. Now let's start at the front. Gone is the grille, as is often the case with electric vehicles. We got the bigger Omoda badge across the front. We have a camera down here. And hidden behind here is the charging port. So we have a CCS Type 2 port and under there. We get 9.9 kilowatt AC and 80 kilowatt DC, though I hear you can sneak it a little bit above that. So, okay, but not amazing. The battery underneath the car is a 61 kilowatt hour LFP unit. LFP for life, I say. They are the best units to have. You're good for about a 430 kilometer odd WLTP range. There is a frunk. It's only a little one. Would be nice if it was bigger, but you know me, props to any car with a frunk underneath the bonnet. Now, there is a heated windscreen, so for those cold mornings, particularly our friends in the south, you just hit a button and it warms up, drops off any ice that's there and demists itself a lot quicker. And you'll see up there cameras for the driver assistance function that the car has. It's got a pretty full suite, and again, we'll talk about that when we're on the road. Now, if we go around the side here, there's two levels of specification for the Omoda E5. This top spec one, the EX model, gets 18-inch wheels. These are alloy with some plastic aero covers. I think they look okay. There's Kumho tyres on there, which I think is really good. Kumho is a great brand of tyre. These aren't some Chinese ones like we've seen on some Chinese cars. They are a good, globally known tyre, and my initial drive suggests they're pretty good. Talk more about that later. Around here we have black wing mirrors on this particular coloured car with cameras. It has surround cameras on the EX models. Normal door handles, and of course you've got keyless locking. You walk up, open it, that kind of stuff. And on the EX models as well, you get these tinted windows. There's no roof rails, and it doesn't look like there's any great way to put them on there, so you might have to use some alternative methods to put on a roof rack if you want to do a few lifestyle-y things, as they all pitch us that we are going to do in these little SUVs. Right, so as we come around the back, we've got this panel here, which looks like glass. It's not. It's a solid panel. There's no light going inside from there. And it does, I think, make for a little bit of a dark rear seat. But we'll get to that in a minute. These lights here, they are animated. They have LEDs in them, and you get some kind of pattern going when you indicate, which is great for when you just want to flick it for 1 second and then change 3 lanes on an Auckland motorway at once, as Aucklanders are known to do. You've got this big spoiler up here with handles if you want to pick up the car and take it away. Really heavily tinted rear window with a wiper. And a tiny little cute spoiler there. Got a Omoda badging across the back, E5 badging. Big black plastic cladding down here that'll hopefully hide a few supermarket bumps. Now, we don't have a tow rating for the car yet, but if we do get one, we will let you know on the EVs and Beyond website. And on the EX model, not on the BX model, the tailgate is electric. So let's have a look in that. So it's a fairly sizable boot. And the interesting thing about it is that, unlike pretty much every other EV in the market, there's a full-size spare tyre under there. That is pretty cool, pretty special. I actually think it's something that's going to appeal to a range of buyers having that feature there. Right, let's go have a look at the interior of the Omoda E5. So we're now inside the Omoda E5, and one of the things I've mentioned this before in this car is I'm really impressed with some of the quality inside this vehicle. We've got this nice soft kind of synthetic leather stuff here, the stitching. The steering wheel on the EX model, not the BX, has this really nice leather covering as well. interesting patterns on the dash. Now, there are some hard plastics around here, but they're generally fairly well hidden away and away from your key touch points. You've got a 8-speaker Sony audio system in the car, which is, I think, including some of these vents and weird things at the top, things like a weird ionizing system, air cleaning system, all a bit unique. 2 giant screens here that are really bright and nice. I like having those there, and we'll talk about those more in a second. Lots of traditional vents. You can turn them on and off. There's no tricky things to do here. Got a wireless charger in the EX models here that actually works really well on an iPhone Max, a large iPhone, and it has a little cooling vent down there to keep your phone from overheating. Cup holders, small but functional. Little interesting cubby here where I'm putting the key. That's what the key looks like. For the Omoda, pretty clean and simple. Does have a remote start button to let you cool the car down in advance, which is pretty important because this car has no app connectivity, so you can't go and turn the AC on or unlock the car via an app. You have a giant cubby here that is actually ventilated, so it might help keep your drinks a little bit colder. Now, if we go down here, there's a couple of interesting things. You've got some USB charging ports down here. They are reasonably powerful. I tested them on our tester and we're seeing about 22 watts out of them, so that is pretty solid from the USB-C. You have a hook here, but hard to get out, but you get it, for your groceries. I think they call that a curry hook, which means you can put your bag there, hook it over there, and it's not going to fall over. Glove box, nothing too massive. Now, interestingly, you don't have a transmission shifter in the center console here. You've got some extra buttons for your AC, the heated windscreen and demister, that kind of stuff, sports mode. But you've got over here some more buttons around the brightness for the screens and turning on and off or up and down the beeps that are so common in cars these days. The transmission shifter is over here on the right-hand drive of the steering wheel, like older Teslas, like Mercedes. You've got a very big combo switch here for your windscreen wipers, your lights, everything on there. That possibly takes a second to get to. But it does have automatic lights and automatic windscreen wipers. Now, one of the bugbears some people have with the Atto 3 is no automatic windscreen wipers. And then on the steering wheel, you have your usual buttons to control the screens for the, up and down with the audio, changing your modes. You've got your adaptive cruise control and your lane keep, all that kind of stuff. Easy to reach buttons on the steering wheel itself. This little binnacle here, that is for the driver assistance system. We'll talk about that when we're out on a drive. Not a fan. Now, this screen here has all the items you'll need about the car, but you can also do things like pull the mapping over onto that side. Now, if we look at this screen, you've got navigation, and it's not a bad navigation for an in-car inbuilt navigation. You've got climate control functions, you've got your radio, dual zone climate control, so you can vary the climate to both sides. Again, not always the case in this sector of the market. And if we pull that down again, you've got controls for the heated and ventilated front seats. There's also heating in the rear seat. And then you've got various functions in regards to the car. So the new energy functions, the Apple CarPlay, the Android Auto, all sorts of stuff like that. You can turn on and off things like the V2L. There is V2L available on this car. The screen could do with a little bit more responsiveness, but it all runs pretty smoothly, pretty fast, quite similar to most of the other Chinese cars we've driven. But I would say this is definitely at the better end of that segment. Now, the front seats, they are heated and electrically controlled on both the driver and passenger, which is useful. They are manual on the entry-level BX model, so that the electric function is only for the EX model. Also only for the EX model is the sunroof. It's only a small sunroof, but it does actually eat a lot into headroom. I have this seat down as far as I would like, or as far as I can go, and it's really about the minimum that I'd want to sit at. I would like to go a little bit lower, because I am brushing my hair, and it's messing up my hair a bit, on the ceiling because of the sunroof. So, to be honest, my perfect Omoda E5 would be this model without the sunroof. So, I don't know, team at Omoda, can you make that one happen? Right, let's talk about the back seat. Now, the back seat, it's not bad, but I think in comparison to the Atto 3 and the MG ZS, legroom is a little bit tight. And again, I mentioned it before, those blacked out panels in the back make for quite a dark space back there. So it's not too bad, but it's still not necessarily class leading. Okay, right, let's take the Omoda E5 for a drive. And one of the first things I'll note is the 360 reversing camera system on this thing. It is really good. It's crisp, it's bright, it's clear. The guidelines work really well. You can choose your cameras and look for, better views if you want them. And it works when you're on the road as well. It's got a bit of a 3D function that it feels when you're turning a corner. It'll bring up a big graphic saying so. I think I've got to indicate for that. There you go. There's the graphic. So yeah, really good. Now, while we're talking about the infotainment system and the cameras and stuff, we'll talk about the screen and the software in there. We mentioned before, it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that kind of stuff. It works really well. It's better, I think, than most of the other Chinese options out there. It's responsive. I think the processor does a reasonable job of keeping things on the move. And there's plenty of key software features in there as well. I mean, you can watch videos, all those kind of things. You're probably not going to. The navigation's there, works okay, but you're going to rely on Android Auto and Apple CarPlay at the end of the day, aren't you? So yeah, that does okay. Now, the driver assistance systems, again, they're actually pretty solid. Now, I had a bit of a bad start with the car, and my apologies to Sheldon at Omoda, who had a bit of a panic. There's somewhere in the sat-nav settings, there was something to warn me of speed and various other things, and it was getting a bit annoying. But once that was turned off, the system itself's pretty good. The lane keep works well, the adaptive cruise works well, all the other functions work pretty well. There's no great overwhelming bongs and dings and stuff like that, as can often be the case. It does have a driver awareness monitor, and it's not the worst out there, but you can't turn it off. So that will quite often, particularly when you put your hand up here in front of the sensor, go, you're not paying attention enough, or if you lean over to change your song, you're not paying attention enough. I don't blame Omoda, I don't blame any of these companies for that. That's a requirement that ANCAP's put in place for a 5-star safety rating. They're not an easy system to get right, and so many others are struggling, including the likes of, we had great issues with the Kia EV9. Even Kia, considered really high-end in that world, struggles with driver awareness features. So how does it drive? Well, really rather well. There is a lot of power on tap. 150 kilowatts, 340 newton meters of torque, gives you about a 7-second 0 to 100 time. It feels fast, it feels responsive, it feels really more like a hot hatch to drive, I think, than an SUV. Out on the open road, it feels firm, but not too firm. Just, it doesn't feel like there's much body roll. The body itself feels nice and stiff and doesn't seem to flex about. It doesn't feel as heavy as you'd think with that big battery underneath. Really quite impressive. And the steering, I actually quite like the steering. It is light, but it really does let you kind of haul into a corner. I was super impressed with how this thing went on the open road. And around town, it's just as good. Though if you're pushing hard, you can experience a little bit of torque steer. And if you accelerate too hard on damp conditions, it will spin a wheel. If there is one niggle I would suggest around the driving side of it, it is road noise. This thing does have quite a bit of road noise, and I wonder if that's just down to those Kumo tyres being quite grippy. Sometimes grippy tyres can be a little bit noisier. It's not over the top, but it certainly is a little bit less quiet, a little bit less refined in the noise stakes than, say, a BYD and 3. But not by much, not by much. And I would argue that the extra chassis performance, the way this thing drives, is almost worth the trade-off on that refinement. Now, you do have 3 modes for performance in this car. If I run through them here, you've got normal mode.
Sport mode.
Yep, and?
ECO mode.
So eco mode, it says ECO mode for some reason. And really, they just vary your the amount of throttle input you've got available, essentially. The efficiency of the car is actually not bad. Now, we're showing 16.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, but I hammered this car here today. I've done over 100 kilometers through the country just today alone, and I pushed quite hard, and that's actually not a bad number. Now, they claim a 430 WLTP. They say low 16s kind of on average. I actually think if I drove remotely nicely, I would easily get this car well into the 15s, if not lower. So I think they are hiding a little bit of efficiency in the Omoda E5, and I wonder if you could push that range target just a little bit. I mean, we look at it here, we're showing 160 to go with 42%, so that's showing well into the 300 range, but that's after a day of heavy pushing. So the Omoda E5, I've been really impressed particularly at the quality of this vehicle. It just feels really well put together. Now, it's not perfect. There's a few quirks, and I think perhaps the way the power is delivered and the actual overall handling could just use a tiny degree of improvement, though most of that I think is going to be in software, and potentially we'll see updates to the car at some point. But the massively impressive thing with this vehicle is the price. Now, this is the EX, but you can get the BX, the entry level, with just a few little minor things removed, for $47,990. So that significantly undercuts the MG ZS EV and the BYD Atto 3. And if you look at it in comparison to the MG4, it has better spec and 10 kilowatt hours of extra battery capacity for only an extra $1,000. That is amazing value. Now, those prices technically are a 3-month promotional period. It's $54,990, I think, for the EX model here. But I suspect with the competitiveness of the EV market at the moment, those prices will stay around for quite some time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below for more from EVs and Beyond.